Welcome to the 2022 Kentucky Bourbon Festival and the first edition of the Bourbon 30 Talk Show. This is sponsored by Great Western Malting. Good morning, everybody. Good Saturday to you. Thanks for coming out to the 2022 Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Woo-hoo. We're happy. We're excited to be here. How many steps did people get yesterday? Y'all got like 9 steps because you stayed in your booth the whole day.
We stayed in our booth, but we tried to visit some of the other locations. But man, you guys are crazy. Don't you just love bourbon?
We love bourbon, absolutely. That's what we're here to talk about. As I said, this is the Bourbon Festival, and I am the Director of Programming and Content. My name is Steve Coombs. With me, I have 2 good friends of mine who are going to talk about several things on top of bourbon. To my immediate right is Barry Brinegar, the owner of RD1 Spirits. Is that correct? RD1 Spirits?
RD1 Spirits.
and commence sharing those while we're talking, or at least one of them. Whichever one you want to own.
I think we need a little French oak finish Kentucky straight whiskey, bourbon whiskey. Yeah.
And to my far right is Sam Lacy, the president of the Bardstown Bourbon Guild.
Woo! Go Sam.
Thank you.
El Presidente. Does that get you any privilege here at the Bourbon Festival? Or we just treat you like every other
Everything.
spot?
I tell you what, honestly, I got to skip the line both days to get in.
Well, that was just the portalettes.
Cool.
That was just the bathroom line you're in.
No.
lot of side eye going to you that day.
No, we got in. It helps to know people, Steve. So
you do know people.
Yeah,
you do.
I know a few people now.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things we're going to talk about today are the value and the fun of bourbon societies. Barry, do you have a position with the Lexington Bourbon Society? You were one of the founders, right?
Well, I was on the board with the Lexington Bourbon Society. Now I'm just a super fan. There, I'm a member of the Lexington Bourbon Society. I see some members out there of LBS. And, I'm such a fan of bourbon clubs. I try to join as many as I can because you can't have too many friends in bourbon.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. Spot on.
And it's dangerous when bourbon is your only friend. That's when things kind of go south. So we don't want to go there. Bourbon societies help you stay away from that because it's all about fellowship and friendship and sharing whiskey responsibly.
Responsibly.
Yes. Yep.
Tell me about the founding of the Lexington Bourbon Society. When did that happen?
So Matt Preston, he was the founder, the president. He's now in an emeritus position, but that was back in 2013, 2014. And the whole idea was that they wanted to give back. They wanted to do good for the community. So they would do fundraisers, bourbon fundraisers, and we raised money for anywhere from Alzheimer's all the way to a school, a teacher that needed to raise money for her class. So, we didn't...
Can't believe there's an underfunded teacher around here.
Yeah.
Shocker. Anyway.
No politics, I was told.
No politics.
Stay away from it.
Stay away.
How do we stay away? But, so was it just guys getting together, guys and gals, of course, because everybody likes bourbon. Is that how it started? And then the charity, mission part of it came along? Or?
I think their very first event was a fundraiser, so it was a charitable fundraiser. But, the other thing that they do is social events, all these social clubs. We love to get together and, like you said, share a pour and just enjoy America's native spirit. So that social piece is the foundation, I believe, of social clubs. We're getting together. We have the Bourbon Capital Academy. And, there's an education component to it. And then, one of my most fun things is doing barrel picks. So we get to do barrel picks. And who doesn't like to drink straight from the barrel?
That's pretty much the coolest experience that we get to have. Yeah, who doesn't love a good barrel pick? Yeah.
I love them. There's never been a bad one. There's some better than others, but I've never been to a bad one. Just fun to go into a rick house if that's the setup and pick a barrel, hang out with your friends, among the spider webs and the musty smells and all the cool parts of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's real.
And I guess a bourbon society would have the buying power to be able to do that kind of stuff, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sam, when did you guys start? Was it last
Last
year?
year, yeah, just over a year ago. So the Bourbon Capital Guild is Bardstown, Nelson County's bourbon society, and it's crazy to think that there was a bourbon society in Owensboro, Lexington, Louisville, Paducah, etc., before Bardstown. You know, the bourbon capital of the world. So my organization, the Bourbon Capital Community Alliance, was kind of tasked with, okay, how do we create this groundswell of bourbon appreciation, bourbon knowledge, create bourbon ambassadors here in Bardstown. And the logical way to do that was to create a very premium bourbon society here in Bardstown. So we kicked off last year, 100 founding members, we opened up at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning registration, and I mean, I had 40 spots filled in 10 minutes. So
wow.
The demand was here. We've recently added another 50 members. Barry's a member, a valued member of the Guild. And so we've got 150 really dedicated members. It's
interesting because we're about half local, half outside of Bardstown. We have members from 13 states and Washington, D.C. We have members as far away as California. So these people that come that far away, do they come here for any other purpose? I mean, are they coming to buy and they just want to be a member of the society, or what?
Yeah, well, they want to be a member of the society. And so Jonathan Crocker, I'll use his name, from California, he's getting into the bourbon business with our state rep, Chad McCoy. And so he wanted to be a part of the Bourbon Guild and make these connections here and be closer to bourbon here in the bourbon capital of the world.
So talk about what is required of a society member typically, other than membership. I mean, paying your dues or whatever. What responsibilities come with that, if any?
Well, you know, you're joining a club, and it's what you're going to get out of it is what you put into it. And so, you know, I know a lot of members in the societies that I'm a part of, they have to pull out because, you know, their life changes. You know, they may have kids. So if you don't have the ability to get together for those meetings and enjoy company, it's kind of tough. So really what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And, you know, you could form a bourbon club anywhere. You could get together with friends. It doesn't have to be a 501c3. It could be a 501c7, kind of a pass-through entity. Or you don't even have to make it a legal entity. You could just get together and, you know, have a fun time.
So a lot of these meetings that I go to have guest speakers, you know, from the industry. I mean, it's about education, is what I'm starting to say. I mean, what do you guys do, Sam, for education?
Well, one of the things that the organization that oversees the Bourbon Capital Guild is the BCCA. And the other thing that we're working on right now, kind of behind the scenes, is the Bourbon Capital Academy. So that is custom.
Yes, talk about that. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this initiative. It's custom Bardstown-centric bourbon education with 3 target markets. So certainly our guild members, we want them trained up and educated. The second and largest target market is consumers. This is for tourists. And third, we are going to adapt this course that we're building and offer it free of charge to our local hospitality industry. Because when you come to Bardstown, we've got to elevate our hospitality experience.
Correct.
From cocktails, the way we interact with consumers that visit us from all around the world. If people ask a question about bourbon, our hotel workers, our restaurant workers, our bar workers need to be able to answer that question. So the Academy will be kicking off in early 2023. Kind of a 101 level prerequisite course, it offered in a standard location. And then after you take that prereq, a lot of really cool experiences and continuing education are going to open up for you at our 9 member distilleries. So it's a super unique model that we're building. I could not be more excited about it.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, up the cocktail game. I mean, make sure those are. I mean, got to come to a town like this and expect a good old fashioned or a Manhattan, right?
Yep.
And educate people on that, because every place does it a little bit different, but sometimes a standard way to get it is smart. So, and you can riff on that, build on it, do it however you want to. Tell me about some of the events with the Lexington Bourbon Society. What do you guys do?
We've done this for many, many years, and you know, one of the things that we do is we have signature events So we celebrate the Commonwealth's birthday every year, and we have a very large event that is a fundraiser in Lexington. It's called the Commonwealth Bash, and so that's one of our signature events. We also do a Four Roses event where we bring in folks. We have every expression, and you get to bring a team in that mixes your own small batch. And we actually, Brent Elliott attends those. Al Young, rest his soul, when he was still living, he would attend those events. And so the team that donated the most money got to have Brent Elliott on their team to help them small batch. So
that's cool.
It's a very unique experience. And, this last year we've raised over $60,000 locally, So I think that it's really, and Sam and the Bourbon Capital Guild's doing the same thing. We're doing these very upscale, elevated events to give value back to the members.
Oh, that's cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, and if I can say one more thing about what the initiative with the BCCA with Sam is, that we're training bourbon ambassadors. Bourbon to our state represents $9 billion.
Correct.
To the state in tourism.
A lot of revenue.
And lots of revenue, but we want to make sure that as we have guests, and thank you guests that are here today from out of the state of Kentucky, we want to make sure we're representing bourbon the proper way and talking about it intelligently. So I think that's a terrific thing to do, just elevate your bourbon knowledge.
Sam, what does the group makeup look like for the Bardstown Guild? Because you painted a picture of diversity in terms of people coming from around the country to do this.
Yeah.
Is it older, younger, men,
No,
women, what?
It's really a broad spectrum. And when I ran the numbers one day, like I said, we've got members from 13 states and Washington, D.C. We have a large contingent from Ohio, actually. Yeah, shout it. There he is. Yeah, John Spicer. I figured he's out there somewhere. But we do have, it's a mix of young and old. We have a lot of very experienced bourbon drinkers, John Spicer. And then we have people that are relatively new. We have about 30% female, 70% male. And so I'm really proud of the makeup of the group that we've put together, what it has become, and it wasn't intentional, but it has kind of become a very influential group of people here around Bardstown.
How so?
Well, we have a lot of distillery reps, all of our master distillers. My organization, we have 9 member distilleries. And I'm not going to name them all because I'll forget one and then everybody get mad. So we have 9 around here. It's basically all of the big guys around here are members. So all of their master distillers are honorary members of the Guild and have attended Guild events. Fred and Freddie know we see quite frequently. Danny Kahn at Barton, et cetera. Steve Nally at Bardstown Bourbon. But we also have these distillery reps. We have local politicians. We have people in the community, city council members. The mayor joined. Mayor Heaton does not drink, but he saw what this group is, how much fun we have, just networking, and wanted to be a part of it. So
that's fantastic. So where do you guys meet in Bardstown, just out of curiosity?
Are you putting me on the spot here? We announced something at National Bourbon Day.
So we show up at a park and pour a few drinks for everybody and throw out a tablecloth. I mean, this is a street event, a cruise.
Yeah. We are working on, the one thing that we haven't instituted yet in the Guild that we want to get to is these monthly member meetings where we do some education. We'll bring in a distiller, do some tastings, et cetera. We are waiting on that because National Bourbon Day, we announced $150,000 now. Sponsorship from the Brinegar Group out of Nashville. So Jeff Hopmayer, and that money is earmarked for a dedicated space for the Bourbon Capital Guild for monthly member meetings, as well as the build out to host this 101 level Bourbon Capital Academy course. So we have a space in mind. We're working on some things behind the scenes. We can't announce it yet.
No breaking news today.
No making news today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't. But I feel good about the possibilities for this space. I think it's going to work for all parties involved, and it's going to add a lot of value for our valued guild members.
Gonna have like a little guild president's chair in there, a little throne for you.
It may.
Yeah.
You know, I like that idea.
Sounds
yeah.
right.
We're talking, I will tease one thing, we're talking about whiskey lockers, which is kind of the hot new thing. So guild members, whiskey lockers, show off your prized possessions. We've got some really cool ideas.
That's really neat. Where does the Lexington Society meet?
Right now, they meet at Base 110. It's a co-work space down on Vine Street in Lexington, Kentucky. We've got a couple of locations there. I keep telling them that they can come to RD1's brand destination in Lexington, and so far they haven't taken me up on it because they've got a great space with really good parking. But you know, we also,
there's no parking where you are.
there's very
I think we
tough
parked
parking.
there to go to your place, like right on Fifth Street.
Yeah, but we get together. Jerry Daniels is out here. We get together at people's homes. You know, we do bottle shares, and if you've ever been to a Lexington Bourbon Society bottle share, there's some very special bottles, just like when we get together with the Bourbon Capital Guild.
So say I'm a member of the Bourbon Society in Louisville, but say I wanted to visit any of your groups. I mean, do you call a president or whatever, say, I'm going to be in town, I'd just like to meet you guys. Can I come by? Is that possible, or is it just members only?
No, 100%. Always possible for anybody to show up. We do monthly social sippers where we go to area bars and restaurants, and we advertise those on social media, and they're open to anybody. You don't have to be a member to attend those, but that kind of hooks people in because they see, wow, there's this group of people that are getting together, and I want to be a part of that. So we do those events that are open to the community as well as our members.
That's fantastic. Same for you guys? I mean, people.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Once you get a space, I guess.
Once we get a space, yeah, Steve, I reached out to you. I asked you if you wanted to be a founding member, and you turned me down. So I don't know if you're regretting that now, but if you want to hit me up, we can get you in on some of these events we're doing. I think we can manage that.
Yeah.
You won't be a founding member, though, but you'll be a member.
You can never be a founding
that
member.
means I'm cleaning up.
Yeah, only
if I
100
join.
of them. Yeah, so we got a few of them out there.
Come on, lobby for me. 101. 101.
Yep. I tried.
Oh
Yeah,
my
all you
gosh.
have is regret now that you didn't be one
It
of
is
those
regret.
first 100.
It is regret. I drink regret sometimes. Not very often. I just think, part of what I love about the Bourbon Society in Louisville is I always meet somebody new. There's always somebody new there. It's a pretty sizable group. I think it's 700 members maybe. But only 110, 125 show up every meeting. There's always a kind of a rotation about that. Is that something that you find in the Lexington Society too?
We do. I mean, we see for some of those larger events like the Commonwealth Mash, there's only so many people that can attend. So we see a lot more of the members show up for those larger scale events. But, it's about, 25, 30% of the members are attending on a very regular basis.
So it's not like you have to show up every time to be part of it.
Right.
Absolutely. So what do you have going on down the road in terms of charity stuff? Anybody have anything cool in mind that you're working on, or like for your bash, anything coming up?
So, we're actually coming up to the Four Roses fundraiser. That's every November that we do that. And so that'll be a fairly large fundraiser. And then we always do a Christmas party. So why wouldn't you do a bourbon get-together during the Christmas holiday? So we always do a very fun holiday party, and that's very well attended.
Since I turned down my founding member to the guild opportunity, what does it cost to join as a slacker member?
We are
I wish I would have started early member.
And any of my members would tell you this. I mean, we're a bit more expensive than your typical Bourbon Society. We're $375 a year. But I've had members just yesterday that told me the event alone that we did at Heaven Hill, like that was worth his $375 membership. So Heaven Hill rolled out 5 barrels for us in their rick house right there across from the Bourbon Experience. We all, as a group, we had 40-something members there, tasted through all 5, picked a barrel. We now have those. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, fantastic pick. So we are a bit more expensive, but, the unique thing about the Bourbon Capital Guild is It's overseen by the BCCA. We have 9 member distilleries. So we're really kind of focusing solely on those 9 distilleries. And what we want to do with our guild members is kind of organically create ambassadors for those 9 distilleries. We're going to give you really cool experiences, barrel picks, etc. And then you have this knowledge that you can go and talk educatedly about those 9 distilleries here. So
that's cool.
It's a unique
So
model.
you're kind of seeding the community, as it were. With these,
I think it was David Mandel that termed it, a bourbon army at one point. What we need to create here is a bourbon army, and that's what we're doing through the means of the Bourbon Capital Guild.
That's really cool. That is really cool. What does it cost to join the Lexington Society, Barry?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What does it cost to join the Lexington Society?
It is a very affordable $100 a year. And, with that membership, you can, if you want to do a household membership, you can add on $50 if you want to bring your spouse in. And this year, I finally brought my wife, Tori.
You should just call that the designated driver membership.
That's right. Well, she used to be a designated driver, but she's attended so many of these events, she's now drinking whiskey neat, and I mean, she exceeds my palate. Women have better palates than men.
That is true. That is true.
And the women actually, like most of the women that I know that drink bourbon, they drink it at barrel strength, so they have a very refined palate. And really, the fastest growth demographic in bourbon consumption is female. It's female, 21 and older. So that really is the market that we talk to. We work toward bringing that membership in. We saw a 30% ratio with the Bourbon Capital Guild, but that representation is continuing to increase in percentage.
That's excellent. I mean, because it's all about whiskey. So talk about this one that we're tasting.
Yeah. So RD1 stands for Registered Distillery Number 1. It was actually in the 1860s when the government needed to start taxing spirits, which had not been taxed since the early 1800s. So the way that they registered them was through Registered Distillery 1, 2, 3, and in the state of Kentucky, it was divided up into 7 districts. Each district had an RD1, had an RD2. DSP, Distilled Spirits Plant, was post-prohibition. So this was the way the government could register distilleries. So our brand, located in Lexington, Kentucky, we resurrected RD1, which it was the Ashland Distillery in 1865. We resurrected it in 1820. So we came to market with these 2. They're not quite on the shelf. You can buy these at our booth here at the Bourbon Festival, but it's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It is a 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. And it is a delicious 98 proof, the blue label. And then the finish is finished in French oak, and it is at 101 proof. So come on over to our booth, and we'll sample you out on it, and we'll sell you a bottle or 2. We do have a limit. You can only buy 30 bottles. I'm sorry, but there's a hard limit there. But come and get them before they're gone.
So that's a good question. I'll ask the crowd. Who likes being able to buy bottles here at the festival? Wow. That was almost like, who wants free money? I mean, everybody raised their hand. That's fantastic. I think it's, if you see Chad McCoy, does anybody know who he is?
Oh, yeah.
Our wonderful legislator here in Nelson County that's pushed for these great laws to change in the state of Kentucky. Pat him on the back, because he's done a hell of a lot of work to make this happen. In fact, what was it, House Bill 500 had some provisions in it that not only allow us to sell bottles here, but to be able to pour, not to be able to pour, but there were a couple of other things that, as the festival was developing, we were thinking, is that going to favor us or is it going to sting us? But generally, we figured out it was going to favor us. So this event and our ability to pour whiskey is unique, and we're very lucky because the guys and gals in Nelson County have worked to push forward laws that allow this. So
yeah, and let me say with Chad, I mean, Chad's a guild member. He's a valued guild member, and greatly appreciate everything.
Soon to be a distillery member? Is that what you hinted at? I didn't know that.
I didn't say it.
Didn't hear from Sam.
Yeah, but no, really. The entire industry, myself, we appreciate everything that Chad has done. We're going to miss him in Frankfurt. Sad to see him leave at the end of the year, but He will continue to be involved in the guild and around Bardstown. He's a big bourbon guy.
He's done some fantastic work, no doubt. Who has any questions for these guys? Other than why Sam can't talk about the new space you're going into.
Soon, Steve.
Didn't know I was stepping into a segment of silence there. Didn't know the.
Yes, sir.
So the question was, where do you see the industry in relationship to the Guild and the Lexington Bourbon Society and all of it as the future unfolds? Tell us about that interaction, because that is key to have those people come and visit our societies.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, it's back to that unique model that the Bourbon Capital Community Alliance oversees the Guild. We have 9 member distilleries. So what we're attempting to do, and it is a strategic process, is give you all, as Guild members, access to experiences and unique things at the distilleries that nobody else can get, and turn you all into brand ambassadors, educated brand ambassadors for those distilleries. So I work with those 9 distilleries day in and day out to kind of help them build, help them grow here. And we want you all to know just as much and have the same relationships as I do.
I think that, you know, with Lexington, we love all distilleries. You know, we really thrive on getting distillery representatives to come in and talk to our group. And that education piece is so important. And it's pivotal, because that we're looking at the 1%ers, the people who love bourbon, love it so much that they're willing to pay money to be a part of a social club and dive deeper into the knowledge of bourbon, and then taking that out to the masses to be able to talk intelligently about all of those member distilleries. I think that, you know, the important piece is that, you know, bourbon's meant to be shared in community, and, you know, that's what we promote, you know, responsible drinking, but coming together, talking intelligently about a brand, and then maybe not knowing something about a new brand that's coming to market, bringing them in and hearing what they're doing, what they're making, and what their liquid strategy is moving forward. So it's all important, and that connection piece is super important.
That is so correct, Barry, that so many young brands, new brands get to come to these societies and show their stuff, and you're getting the exact target market, you're getting their feedback, you're getting the exposure. And I don't know too many social groups that are tied to an industry so intimately like the bourbon societies and the bourbon industry is. They really understand that we want to educate these people and share our products with them, and we want to learn. We want to see those guys and gals directly. It's lucky. We're really lucky to have this in this state. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do.
All right, folks. We're going to sew up this segment of the Bourbon 30 talk show. We want to thank Great Western Malters. We cannot get by without the sponsorship. This is it's such a wonderful thing that people will step in. I mean, none of you are going to go out and buy malted barley today, but know that what they put into those bags is stuff that goes into your whiskey, and we thank them so much for being so kind to sponsor us. So, come back. There will be another one on the half hour, right? Of course. Oh, we got a last minute question.
Yeah, and if I may, so that Bardstown special license plate is going to be used for philanthropic purposes. So the Bardstown special license plate, we got it approved in 2020 through the state, and the BCCA got that done. It pays homage to our distilling heritage and history. We want everyone in Kentucky, you don't have to be in Bardstown to buy one of those. It's coming out in 2023 is the last thing that we heard. So what we're doing with those plate proceeds, it's $10 per year per plate sold. What we want to do with those is establish a scholarship program, an annual scholarship to the James B. Beam Distilling Institute at UK. And we're also going to take, I think 20% is what we settled on, 20% of those proceeds to supplement the KDA's diversity, inclusion, and equity scholarship program that already exists. So we're using those proceeds from the bourbon plate, pour back into the education part of the bourbon industry here.
So if you want to hassle somebody, have a look at it, Frankie Hibbs. Wave your hand. You got to go see this plate. It's very, very cool. You want it on your car. Trust us. All right, we got to leave the stage to the real talent. The Aviation Project's coming back to play a little more music that you may want to dance to. You may or may not. If you're like me, you don't want to dance to anything in public, but enjoy them all the same. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Steve.
Steve. Thank you all.